Hi, Pleximus here. And in this video, I want to show you how to tame your first dino in Ark when you are about between level 5 and level 10, and give you some tips for taming in general. So let's get started. It doesn't matter if you want to use your dino for fighting, transportation, harvesting, or resource production. Taming dinos is one of the most fun and most important activities for your progression in Ark. So what you can tame is depending on a number of different factors. The main one being your level, because you have to craft the saddle in most of the cases, the map you're playing on, and what you're planning to use the dino for. And of course, if you are playing vanilla or modded. In this video, I assume you are a beginner, you are playing on the island, as you can see here. Without any mods, you just started Ark, want to get some advice what dino you should tame to have the most fun and also progress through the game like a pro. To start off, let me introduce you to my Ark step-by-step taming approach by answering the following questions. Number 1, can I ride it? Number 2, where to find it? Number 3, what should I prepare? I will answer these questions for every dino I will suggest you to tame, and with that also give you a kind of a recipe for other dinos you want to tame in the future. Okay, so your first tame in Ark will strongly depend on what dinos you will find in your surrounding area. The ones I would recommend, if you are between level 5 and level 10, are the Moschops and or the Parasaur. And it doesn't matter if it's a tech Parasaur or a normal one, that's pretty much the same. They can help you get around, defend your base against smaller predators, and they can also help you harvesting berries much faster. Now, let's start with the Moschops. Question number 1, can you ride it? And as you can see here, the Moschops does not need a saddle. And that's great because you have no level requirements for a saddle engram, and you don't need any resources, which makes it a perfect starter tame. Number 2, where to find it? The best resource to check this is the Ark Wiki. I will put the link in the description below. There you can look up the dino, and then you can scroll down and select the map you're playing on. In our case, that's the island. And then you can identify the areas you will find the creature. As you can see for the Moschops, we have a good chance to find him everywhere on the map. Now let's come to question number 3, what to prepare for the taming. The Moschops is a passive tame. This means you need to have the food he is requesting and feed it with that. So if we come closer, you can see it says he wants cooked prime meat. And this is also very often the biggest issue. But if you have the requested food, take the food, put it in the last slot on your hotbar in the 0 slot. Go close to the creature and press the E button on PC. If it's not instantly tamed because it's a higher level, you need to follow him around until it gets hungry again and continue feeding until it's tamed. And don't get frustrated. The time between the first and the second feeding for all the passive tames will take the longest. The following steps are much shorter. So, what are the benefits of a Moschops? First, you don't need a saddle as we already discussed. And that's great. Second, you don't need a trinket. And therefore it's very simple and fast tame. The Moschops is good in gathering thatch. Also a little bit of wood. Fiber, berries, and even rare resources like mushrooms and also organic polymer. And if he has a few levels in there, he can also take a punch and defend you against some of the smaller creatures. However, if you want to use him for specific harvesting, don't forget, as you can see here, press the E button and then view harvesting levels. And if he's leveling, you can select which one of the rare resources that you want to harvest you want to push so that he's getting a higher amount when harvesting. I for sure will use him to get some organic polymer, because that's one of the rarer resources here on the island. The other dino I would suggest you tame at the beginning is a Parasaur. For sure you will see not only one, but even here on the beach you can see there are a bunch of them running around. So you will have the choice and the possibility to decide on the level you want to tame. Don't go too high, as the level will define the amount of stones or later on the trank arrows you need and how long it is knocked out. For now, I would suggest something up to level 50 somewhere. That range should be okay. So let's go back to our questions. Number 1, can you ride it? Now let's have a look at our engrams and let's look for Parasaur. And as you can see here, we need to be at least level 9 to learn the Parasaur saddle. The saddle needs 80 hide, 50 fiber, and 15 wood, which should not be too difficult to gather. The hide probably is a little bit a struggle at the beginning, but that should be fine. And you can craft it either in your inventory or if you already have a smithy. Question number 2, where to find it? If we check the wiki, you can see the Parasaur is everywhere on the map, and you should have no issue in finding a good level for you. So let's come to number 3, what to prepare for the taming. Well, the Parasaur is, as most creatures in Ark, a knockout tame. This means you first have to make it unconscious, and then you need to feed it until it is tamed. Well, the Parasaur is, as most creatures in Ark, a knockout tame. This means you first have to make it unconscious and then you need to feed it until it is tamed. Let's have a closer look in how exactly we can do that. And for this, I would highly recommend a webpage with all the information you need for taming called Dododex. I put the link of the page down in the description, of course. The first thing to do here is to find the dino you want to tame. In our case, it's the Parasaur. Then you select the level of the dino you want to tame and also the server settings. Let's assume we have a level 30. And here you put in the taming speed and the food drain multiplier. If you don't know that, but you know that you are playing on official or on small tribes, you can use one of these presets and just simply put them in. Just as an example here, I go for the small tribes and the level 30. Having done that, let's scroll down a bit and see what we need to knock it out. There you can see the different weapons, tools, and even dinos that you can use. The most common ones are the bow, the crossbow, and the long neck rifle with tranquilizer darts. As you need to be level 21 for the trank arrows that you would need for the bow or for the crossbow, the next best option for a beginner is the slingshot. You can learn it at level 5, and Dododex is saying you will need, here in that case, 10 stones when you do headshots only, and 20 stones otherwise. So make sure you have at least 25 stones or something in your inventory, better more, as you will miss a few, and probably also have a second slingshot in case the first one is breaking. Important to know is, as you can see here, we have a 7% chance to kill the dino in the attempt of knocking him out. By shooting at him, you are reducing the HP, and depending on how much health he has, there is the chance you kill him before he's falling asleep. However, this will be less of an issue in the future when you go for higher level dinos with higher HP and also with the use of trank darts. So, for the taming food, Scrolling up a bit, we don't have kibble and we don't have crops yet because we are at the very beginning. So we will need about 13 major berries. Again, having more is always good. I am planning about 20% more just to be sure. The taming should take about 4 minutes, as you can see here. And scrolling down a little bit, you can also see there is no additional narcotics or narcoberries needed. So the dino will be asleep all the time and will be unconscious for us. And we just have to put in the major berries and everything should be fine. But don't forget, this is just an example for a level 30, in this case, for small tribes, so that you have just an understanding of the number. Of course, if you change this here to a level 40, it will take a little bit more. It will take 15 major berries and so on. Okay, so now let's have a look how we can do that actually in Ark. Now, the Parasaur will start running away as soon as you attack it. And it is fast, or let's say most likely faster than you. So to make sure we can trank it with our slingshot, you can learn the engram for the bowler at level 9, which can help you very much in keeping the Parasaur from running away. And it's also very helpful against other predators like a raptor or something, so you definitely should learn that. Let's see if we can knock it out. Start with the bowler, somewhere in an area where it's not going up and down all the time. Looks good. Hopefully we don't kill it. And here we go. So when you have knocked it out, you need to make sure you put some berries in the inventory. And I would highly recommend to turn on the tracking. I show you how you can turn on the tracking. Go in your inventory and then you see here the taming list on the top here. If you press that, you will have an overview of all the dinos that your tribe, of course yourself, but also the entire tribe is taming. If you click on that or you say track all, and then close it down. Now the good thing here is it doesn't matter where you are on the map. You can exactly see, number one, if the dino is still unconscious, and that's really, really important. If it's not, if you see it's drastically going down, you have to go there and feed him some narco berries, or even better, if you have narcotics, you have to force feed that with an E. I can show you. So you go to the dino, open up his inventory with F, put in a narco berry, and then you click on the narco berry, and more or less you hover over the narco berry, and then you press the E button. And that's force feeding the dino. And if you look at the unconscious level, you would see that more clearly here. Let's feed him again. And if you can see, it's going up. It's 187. Another feed. It's 190. So if the torpidity, his unconsciousness, is going down, that would mean he will wake up. And that's really, really bad for us. We don't want that. So therefore, keep feeding him narco berries or narcotics. Get him tamed, as discussed. Put him some major berries. And that's it. You just tamed your first Parasaur. Now let's put on the saddle. We can ride it. What can you do with your Parasaur? He's good in gathering thatch. Same as the Moschops. Not so much for the wood, but still you will get some wood. Let's have a look what he gathered. You can see you got some berries, and that's really, really important because you will need the narco berries also for your other tames. Yeah, and as you can see, he's quite fast, not the fastest one, but you can come around. And let's switch that off, untrack, all good. And we can already level our friend. And I would suggest here to level a little bit of weight. And sometimes you can push the melee damage to get higher amount of the resources, but normally that's not necessary. The weight is, if these guys are low level, the most important stat. With that, thank you very much for watching. If you liked it, leave it a like, subscribe, because I will have very soon other beginner taming videos up. If you have any question, please put it down below in the comments. I'm happy to answer them. And if you have a specific request that you want to see, let me know too. Thank you and goodbye.